Hello, my name is Francis Fox. I'm a trained government remote viewer. I also have a degree in political science from the University of Miami. I ran a business successfully for 30 years that I built from scratch. It's still up and running and doing very well. I am very good at creating strong foundations for things based on truth. What is the truth, even though it's uncomfortable? Well, there's a cute truth I realized today. I am more acceptable to aliens than I am to all of you guys. I have so many people who dislike me intensely, so many people who hate me. I have a lot of people that want me dead because of revelations, things that I bring out. Then I have people that love me, but they really don't like me much. But apparently the aliens do, and animals do also. So I really don't want to give this chat today, but my advisors are telling me that I absolutely need to do it. And it is a new moon today in Capricorn, unless I made a mistake and somebody can could correct me. Uh, New moon is when you plant seeds to sow things. Maybe this is an interesting new moon for me to plant a business that I've known for decades that I'm going to have, which has to do with the relationship between humans and aliens. So, what am I here about today that I really don't want to be here? I had a visit 2 nights ago from aliens. That is not unusual. If you are European or you're from Latin America, a lot of your friends will tell you that they were visited when they were a child, or they've seen aliens, or they've spoken to aliens, or they've seen their ships. So that's not so unusual. What was unusual about this is that they had a request. In other words, it was an actual verbal exchange. It wasn't just something that was metaphysical, and I'm not quite sure what happened. It was really very, very clear. But um, so, what was their request? I have to read it. They're looking at the Philippines for a place to land, but openly. Well, what does that mean? Exactly what it's saying, that they want a place to land. They want to be granted permission for a place to land. It's the Philippines. Now, the Philippines, I'm only going to say this piece and then I'm going to go on to, because after that, I asked the Dolphins, what did I need to know about this? And I'll read you that and it clarifies basically everything. But probably, well, it would have been months ago. Me and my group of mantristas, we do mantras and we take care of things at a planetary level. We balance out elements without machines, just with the power of the mind. The mind creates intention. And the intention of the mind creates reality. So we learned to do it. We spent since 2017 practicing. So the United States at that point was extremely unstable energetically, and there was a big potential for there to be a natural disaster because the United States was so broken. It was all political stuff. So we went ahead and we checked the United States, me and my group, in a chat. And the United States was very unstable. There was too much fire, the element of fire. So we cleared. We couldn't finish clearing. I said, well, I don't understand how we can do this and it doesn't finish. Where's this coming from? It was coming from the Philippines, underneath the land. What on earth is going on in the Philippines? And why are they doing this to the United States? Well, maybe they weren't doing anything. Anyway, we were able to soothe it enough. We closed off the energy that was coming from the Philippines. The Philippines has a trench. And it turns out that that trench, um, many people have said, has alien bases underneath the water. So I just am giving you that because I spent a couple of hours looking things up to see if I could kind of tie things together. So it would kind of make sense that they would want to land. They may already be there. Okay. It makes sense it makes total sense that they would come to a person like me because I was chosen by the government when I was a child to be this government's representative with ET negotiations that happened every 5 years from, I think it would have been 64, and it ended in 94 May, which is the month that the veils between worlds is weaker. I'm assuming that's why they chose that month. And this meeting had to do with some demands that aliens were placing upon the people running the planet, which were the major governments. And the demands had to do with stop using technology that can blow up the planet. You're going to affect the rest of the galaxy. Well, that did not end well. But I'm explaining to you why it makes sense to me, who not just, I didn't just live it, but I actually believe it, even though it took me a long time to actually incorporate that information. So it makes sense that they would come to me. So they came and they want to land in the Philippines openly. What does landing mean? We assume it's kind of like from the air and they land. No, we have a lot of aliens that are underneath the ground, that they live inside the earth. And one day I'll tell you the whole story about the BP oil accident in the Gulf of Mexico, how it broke through a veil, a barrier, a wall between us and worlds of people and civilizations that are underneath us, our feet, and we don't know it. No, there have been people that have talked about it, they've written books, and we haven't accepted it as real. So landing doesn't necessarily mean they're coming from another planet. They could be simply coming up from the base that they have in that trench. But let me tell you what it is. I'm going to read word for word what it was. Again, these are my notes. Last night I was visited by ETs. Even my dog was aware. They are looking for the Philippines as a place to openly land. There's some interesting concepts here, which is why on the graphic for this chat it says interface. That word is going to be increasingly important on planet Earth. For those of you that don't believe in aliens, this is not the podcast for you. The world that you're going to be living in soon is not going to be a world that's good for you, because it's not going to sustain or verify that the reality that you are used to, which is the old paradigm, the old world, that can continue to exist at this time. It can't. So maybe you should simply widen your lens and listen. Don't buy into what I'm saying. Certainly don't spend any money. Maybe don't admit to people you're listening to me. But you definitely need to widen your lens, because you're getting dragged into this whether you like it or not. It was foretold in the Bible, and basically all major indigenous people have stories about this time in human history. Well, we're here. Okay, so I asked the dolphins, what do I need to know about the ET visit last night? This is their answer. You will be approached by many ETs who wish to land or to park their vehicles, their spaceships, their spaceships, which is where they get their gasoline, quote, where they are powered from. This is very important that you get this. This is where they get their gasoline, where they're powered from. This is a critical piece of information, as if the spaceship vehicle is attacked, excuse me. This is, I should have made the letters larger. And my issues of the Vatican killing my sight would not be an issue right now. The Vatican does not want for me to see as much as what I see. I'm going to turn here and see if I can see it better. This is a critical piece of information, as if the spaceship vehicles is attacked. The ETs must defend the ship or they will perish. No one will come to their rescue. In order to have their diplomatic meetings, you need to know some basics about aliens. This is them talking to me, which I'm sharing with you. Their food is not the food we have here on planet Earth. They have different types of resources that are their source of power. Venezuela, who the hell put Venezuela in here? Venezuela has one of the most efficient types of resources that powers up the ships, but it also powers up the aliens. So we have resources on planet Earth. One of the places is Venezuela, and that I know to be a fact. But those resources also power up the actual aliens, not just their ships. Aliens are part technology and part alien. That makes sense. Hard to accept, but it makes sense. Hello, Elon. Are you perfecting this? The technology that wasn't in the. Oh no, but the next. Okay. Aliens are part technology, part alien. The technologies is like what Elon Musk is successfully experimenting with, an interface with the alien essence, but with the advancements of their technology. If you haven't bought Tesla stock, don't tell anybody that I'm saying this. Maybe you should. Aliens can interface with their ships or with each other. The big news now is that they want to interface with humans. Our lack of understanding about what constitutes a human being is going to be the stumbling block to negotiations. I know what constitutes a human being. That's what I bring to the table. The discovery of the structure of the human mind and the energy bodies. Oh, listen to this. I discovered the structure of the human mind, which is strings, string theory, it's strings, and the energy bodies that we all have that are what we use on the different dimensions so that our mind can function on that dimension. Now, this is making, even for me, this is widening my lens. I'm going to very quickly flash you. Please, yeah, here it is. This is the human assemblage of bodies. They want to interface with this, but they're not going to interface with the body on the left because that's the physical, it's going to die. I don't know about the electric body, which is the etheric body, the astral body, which is your spirit. I don't know. The green strings are the 72,000 cannabinoid mind streams. And then all the way on the right is all of us have this body. It's the Merkaba. So let's go back to our lack of knowledge about what constitutes a human being. That's what a human being is going to be the stumbling block to negotiations. And then I asked, they want to place the park or they want to place the land? And then the dolphins continued to respond to my question to park, as landing indicates coming down, and many alien ships will come up out of the earth, mountains, and the oceans. But that may not be where they originate from. So the good news is that my thought years ago was that I was going to be able to, because I like business, I was going to be able to do business associated with my skills. And this certainly, their first statement that I will be approached by many ETs who wish to land or park their vehicles. Okay, what does this mean? That it's now. There's no more tomorrows or later. There's no more should we believe, should we not believe. It's now. And I wouldn't be surprised that it wouldn't be next week to where, because I'm not an official government representative, but I wouldn't be surprised if next week official government representatives would be declaring something that everybody's been dancing around, which is the government knows there's aliens. And now the whole issue is who is going to interact with them? Well, it looks like to a certain extent I have been chosen by them. But if I don't have the same intentions as the governments have, it doesn't matter if they knock at my door, the government, for me to represent them. It's not going to happen. Because the last time I did this, which would have been the last meeting in May 1994, I had to represent the government that made the decision that they didn't really care what the aliens were saying about humans blowing up the planet. They were going to do whatever the hell they wanted to do. And that does not resonate for me. So I'm not here looking for a job, but apparently I am going to have a job. Apparently I'm going to have a lot of jobs. But why am I here telling you this? Because if I was really all about money, I'd shut my mouth and negotiate my deals. No, you need to get ready for this. You need to get used to it. When you hear about Elon Musk putting chips inside people's head and body so that they who have been paralyzed in a wheelchair can walk, and you freak out and you think that's the work of the devil, you are not ready for this stage that we're in anyway. You're simply not ready for it. You're going to be accusing everybody of everything because your religion has not taught you about this stage that we're in. The Bible has not brought us gracefully into this stage. Now, the only people that I know that deal with the aliens, from what I know, very limited, it could be a lot more extensive, but they wouldn't talk about it because they don't talk, are the Buddhists. All of their prayers and their meditations, when they pray for people, they pray for aliens also. All of them. I mean, maybe there's some exceptions, but basically all of them. What do they know that we don't know? I don't know that we're ever going to find out from them what we don't know because they're not very, they're wonderful. I love them. I want them over here. The Tantric Buddhist monks I want over here, but they're not very conversational. They don't share knowledge. And I'm saying this, and they could be saying that's not true. Fine. I've dealt with a lot of Buddhist monks. Now, they did share their knowledge with me energetically. When I lived in Tibet when I was 10, whatever the name or the letters of the alphabet identify the intelligence community in 1958-59, that group put me in Tibet when I was 10 years old. And the monks that worked with me, on me, I was 10, they did share their knowledge, but they didn't share it verbally. They shared it by placing, I guess, energy in different energy centers that I have. And I'm not going to get into that because I'm going to lose you. That's okay. Just put that to a side and just say she's trying to make herself more important. Just put that to the side. What I just shared with you that I probably should not have shared with you. So interface. When I first saw that word, what the dolphins shared with me, I went, oh my God, this is going to be like God. They're going to hook themselves up to us. Interface means connecting two systems. You can interface two computers. I actually wrote out I copied the definition of interface. It doesn't have to be with two computers. In English, a place where two systems, subjects, organizations, etc. meet and interact. Life is going to get very interesting. And accusing people of working with the devil is honestly not where it's at. The devil, by the way, is from Orion. Those are big enemies, Orion. Okay. We have elections coming up, and I have no idea what the mood is with the Hispanic voters. The only thing I can say is that several months ago, I picked up and I shared here on my chat that Univision was getting sabotaged and that they would be firing all of the great people that they had there. I didn't even know they had anybody left that was great because they made it their business, supposedly having to do with money, firing all the really good people that had been there for a long time, the people in the public eye. So they were going to do that again in order to weaken Univision, in order to weaken the Hispanic voters, the ones that would be following on Univision in order to be able to control. So basically, my group and I worked at night energetically, reducing the fire element. And also, we put out the information on my chat so that the people at Univision could become aware. And I know who it is that was paying for that, but I'm not going to get into that. But I suggest that some kind of plan be made because there are so many Hispanics, including my followers, which are mainly from Latin America. I do have a lot from the United States. I don't have that large a following. I'm not allowed that by social media. I mean, the things that they do, they'll probably end up in court because of it, but I guess they didn't count on losing, whatever. But when I started uh, supporting Trump openly, I thought I'd lose most of my Hispanic followers, and I said to them, if I start to lie to you about who I think is good, then you really don't need me because I don't lie. So get comfortable with it because I knew almost all my Hispanic followers would not want Trump because of the whole issue with the immigrants. And I said, I don't really care what you feel. I know what I see. I know what I feel. I am Hispanic. I don't like them doing this to the illegals. I've had so many illegals as friends. I was illegal twice, thanks to the US government. Um, but literally, thanks to the US government, they made me illegal on purpose because I was born on a military base, but they didn't want that. So it's all a manipulation. So I told my followers that. But there's been a dramatic shift in my followers, and I suspect in the Hispanics, what's going on with Venezuela warmed the hearts of, I'm sure, a lot of Hispanics here in the United States. So I think that that needs to be, I don't know how you work that in terms of an elections, other than getting the information out there, the accurate information, not a manipulation. So I'm just putting that out there um, because it's important. And I keep seeing stuff about the elections, the elections, the elections, and it's important that whatever process has started continue. The fact that when I sketched the United States and the map shows the support of the Galactic Federation, for me, that's enough. But I was supporting Trump even before that. So that's it. So what is the reason for this chat? Last night I was visited by ETs, even my dog was aware, and they are looking at the Philippines as a place to land, but openly. So we will be back. And maybe there'll be even less of you than before, but I don't think so. Okay. Nope, there's nothing here that I need to respond to on the chat. That's it. Thank you for listening. And sharing would be a good thing, being that the social media doesn't really do that for me.